Hi, this is Jim Wallace with Stamp Out Depression, Augusta, Georgia, Part 3. I want to talk now about the cost of depression. Mostly, I want to talk about the personal cost and not so much the economic cost. When I say the cost of depression, I am not talking about the price of the treatment of depression. I am talking about the cost of inadequately treating depression or ineffectively treating depression or incompletely treating depression or, as is far too often the case, not treating depression at all. The economic cost of depression is staggering. I can't keep up with the numbers and don't even try to. I write articles on my website about what the cost of depression is in economic terms, and it's one of the very most expensive of all diseases left untreated. But now I want to talk about the personal cost of depression, because to me that is far more important and far more meaningful. You know, depression affects people in many ways, but some of the common denominators that depressed people have is they feel hopeless, helpless, and worthless. They feel guilt-ridden. They tend to ruminate about injustices in their past or injustices in their present life. And some of these are very real, some are imagined. But all of them are excessively thought about to a degree which is really tragic and crippling. As a psychiatrist, I have known a great many people who were very severely depressed, and it is always, always a terrible disease in so many ways. It's not just that the people feel horrible. It's not that their mood is bad. It's not that they are mired in rumination and sadness and feelings that feel like grief and hopelessness and helplessness and worthlessness and all of that. Those things are bad enough. But they are stuck not only emotionally, but also in their ability to successfully live life. Things that happen in the normal course of human life quit happening because of this stuckness caused by a brain disease, caused by a brain which has been taken over by pirates and hijacked and rendered dysfunctional and ineffective. Many people have had to quit high school because of depression. I know people that have had to quit high school because of depression. And I'm talking about bright people, people who had a very successful future had they not become depressed. People fail to go to college because of depression. People go to college but don't have the kind of success that they otherwise would have. They're a little bit too depressed to do as well as everyone thought they would do. They don't live up to their intellectual capacities. They don't perform as well in college as they did in high school, because in high school they weren't depressed and in college they were. They become derailed. This happens in the world of careers and jobs and professions as well. Many people are able to be depressed and go to work, but they don't work up to their capacity. Their production is much poorer than it would have been had they not been depressed. Also, people become frankly and overtly disabled because of depression. Depression totally derails them where they can no longer work at all. What a tragedy this is, because we lose so many people to a dysfunction which doesn't have to happen. You know, I think about this a great deal. and I see it all the time. Um, but I think we all see it all the time. I think it's right there in front of us and it's in our face no matter who we are. We don't have to be a psychiatrist to see the horror stories that happen because of depression. We all know people whose lives have been profoundly affected by depression. We all have seen the emotional consequences that depression has caused in the lives of people we know and love. The cost is staggering. The cost is also inexcusable. There are effective treatments for depression, and we need to accept that depression is a brain disease and it can be treated. You know, I am not naive enough to think that all depression is caused by something that is biologic. But I do believe that once a person becomes depressed, whether the depression came from a biologic cause or a situational cause or internal conflicts or wherever it came from, it is at that point a brain disease. Their brain, the brain of a depressed person, has been hijacked by a brain disease. And we need to look at it this way so that we can address it seriously in the same way that we address other serious illnesses. Now, I keep in my office, where I can see it every day, every hour, a watercolor. The reason I keep the watercolor is because I like it. It's a beautiful watercolor. It was given to me by the artist who was a good friend. But I also keep it because it reminds me of something. My friend, the watercolorist, died by suicide. Depression kills 1 million people worldwide every year. Well, suicide does, and the presumption is that a great many of these suicides are caused by depression. I challenge you to name and write down the people you have known in your adult life who died by suicide. For me, that number is rather staggering. One of my friends told me that he could personally remember 10 people who he knows, who he knew, who died by suicide. If you think of the people that died by suicide who were family members and friends of people you know, the number becomes far larger. A great many of those people didn't have to die. A great many of those people could have been effectively treated. We've got to take depression seriously. We've got to understand that it is a brain disease which can be treated, should be treated, must be treated, and we have to understand that it is in the best interest of the people we love to have the disease treated now. It's also in our best interest. We as a society pay the price, and the cost of depression is high. I hope that this little talk has helped you understand why I am so serious about stamping out depression worldwide, beginning in my own backyard of Augusta, Georgia. I invite you to help me by sharing on YouTube and in other social media the various posts that I produce and publish about depression, because together we can make a profound difference in the world and stamp out a great deal of depression. Thank you so much for watching this.